Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Dental Speaker Podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa Emerson, founder of Dental Speaker Institute and the Dental Speaker, and I am so thrilled to be here with Dr. Jen Murphy, a dear friend and colleague, and someone that we really enjoy learning from and just being around. So thank you so much, Jen, for being here today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Now, Jen is going to be sharing with us a little bit more about how we can improve and enhance our vitality and our health and our wellness. And there's some specifics that we're going to share today. And also, before we get going, though, I'd love for you to give us an intro, because you'll be able to introduce yourself better than I. If you what brought you to this point where you're a speaker and consultant and expert influencer in this area? What brought you here?
Well, that's so kind. Well, I have been a practicing dentist for 17 years and still am currently practicing 3 days a week. And I was kind of looking for something more and worked with various coaches, and now have had the pleasure of working with you and developing these skills. And one of my passions has just always been around health and fitness and wellness. I mean, if you look at the podcasts I follow, the books I read, the people I follow on social media, that's a bulk of what it is. And as you can see behind me, that's actually the finisher photo from my Ironman I did, Ironman Wisconsin in 2013, one of the most amazing days of my life. So I have been super fit, really into running and triathlons, but I've struggled too. Started to work a bit more, get burned out mentally, physically, and fell into how it's so easy to do. We're so busy and we come home exhausted. All the demands that we have, that I would just go to, Netflix, ordering food out, things like that, and let my health go. And part of, many things were components to turn that around, but a big part of it was implementing daily, I call them daily healthy habits, things like eating whole foods, getting exercise, sleep, hydration, starting with, it sounds so basic, and frankly, most of us know what we should be doing, but life takes over, and it's easy to have happen to all of us with our businesses, traveling. So I totally get it. And that's, why I'm so excited to be able to bring this forth and try to highlight the importance of it.
Well, it's so important. We're just gonna, I'm gonna go in a little different direction. I thought I ahead of time, I said, well, let's talk about this, let's talk about that, because what you bring up is, for all of the dentists and team members in our community, because we primarily, those who watch and are part of my community, are speakers, consultants, meeting planners, sponsoring partners. So meetings professionals, training, people who train. But then, even just yesterday, I ended up going out to have to get a whole new phone set up. And by the time I got back, it had been 5 or 6 hours since I'd had a drink of water. It's it's so easy. My daughter works in surgery, and she mentioned when I saw her last night that it had been all day long before she could get out of surgery long enough to get a drink of water. So while we know we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep, we know we need to move our bodies, we know we need to drink. Really, that is the world that we as entrepreneurs and professionals, dental professionals, meeting professionals live in, is that we really have to keep an eye and make sure we're getting.
Yeah.
So when you said these are basic things we know, yes, but do we do them? And it's challenging. So when I finally did get to where I had water, I had 4 bottles of water last night to try to catch up, because at my point with my health, I feel it when I don't get enough water, whereas when I was younger, I didn't notice as much. But so that's just one little piece of this. So here's where I'd love to go is, introducing you in the community more for those who don't know, around you being really a wellness and health coach, and being able to take from your experience and learning and sharing with us how we as busy meeting planners that are planning major meetings, as speakers and consultants traveling across the country, as sponsoring partners traveling constantly across the country to meetings. How, it's hard to fit all of that in and do what we know we need to do. So is there any advice you could share with us around that? Any tips or any thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I think travel is a big thing just this year as I've been going to more meetings and trying to get to know everyone in, this industry and the entrepreneurs and, Dental Speaker Institute at your wonderful meeting, Evolution. It's definitely hard. But it can be done. It just really takes planning and focused effort. And I look at it as like with some of these habits, you want to, get it where it's something you don't even have to think about. For instance, like with water, myself in the morning, I kind of have a routine. And before I even leave for work dentistine or days that I'm not, I still do the same thing. And I'm getting in like at least a third of my water right away in the morning. So that one kind of front loading it helps set you up for a really great day versus starting behind the 8 ball. So that's one of the biggest things is kind of setting yourself up for success and then getting it where these habits are just automatic. And then they just like become like, that's who you are.
Mm. Oh, I love that. Well, one thing I was wanting to be sure that we talked about here today is I know that you have a workshop coming up. So you speak on this, you have a group coaching program on this, and then you have a virtual workshop. So an easy way for people to set aside a few hours. So I'm just going to jump right to, I got it pulled up here on my website. So the day is August 4th, 10 to 5 Eastern. A way to just set aside time for ourselves. I can't wait for this, honestly, to be able to just stop everything else. And you know what? Like, I even have some learning in this myself, but like, I think all of us, I'm so excited to learn from you, right? Because like we're just not necessarily doing everything we know we could do to be able to be healthy and maintain that health. So the August 4th, the workshop's Exhausted to Energized, Habits to Revitalize Your Health. Yes, please. Habits to Revitalize Your Health. A virtual workshop, again, 10 to 5 Eastern. I'm going to give you the website now. We'll talk back more about this here in a minute, but drjenmurphy.com, and then you go to the seminars tab and you'll find Exhausted to Energize. So I'm so excited for this workshop. Can you give us a preview around what we will learn so that those who are listening who think, yeah, I think I would like to make some change in my habits, they can see if this might be a fit for them? What will we cover?
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited. And I have to say one thing that I thought of while you were talking about that I'm so grateful and excited that you're going to attend is like, hello, we know everything that Vanessa Emerson has on her plate and everything she does for all of us. And if she can make time to be here, I know you can make time. Just a side note.
I mean, when we started, we said we're going to talk for like 10 minutes, but no, we're going to talk longer than 10 minutes, and we're like totally not talking about what we said we're going to talk about. But let's just go where the spirit moves us. And so, like, even that, can we just shine a light on that? So, yes, I'm making this a big priority in my life because I'm 59. I found out last year I have autoimmune challenges. Like, I believe that we end up being our health is a reflection on the choices that we make. Like, I know I have the genetic predisposition for celiac disease, but I did not have to turn on those genetic markers, the DNA. I'm not a scientist, obviously, but I think based on so many years of getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep and feeling like, oh, 5 hours, I don't need more than 5 hours, or not, like drinking things that were not clear water, and like not eating the right foods and eating a high amount of processed food and sitting all day to work, and like the things that many of us do have guided me to this place where it's like become a essential for me. I want to be able to be really mobile in my 80s and 90s. And so let's just, yes, shine the light on Vanessa as like a poster child of what not to do. And get in there ahead of the fact before you start having big things pop up into your life. Like let's curb it. So thank you.
Yes, no, absolutely. And I appreciate you sharing that too, because it is, I mean, part of what you just said is like, ultimately comes to like, we have to take ownership, like, and like you mentioned, genes, yes, we can have some genetic influence with this, but there is a lot that we control with it, like 80% of it versus like saying, oh, I have, I'm predisposed to this, or my parents had this, and my grandparents had that.
Yeah.
Like we can take control over it. And I think that's a huge thing to highlight, as well as like getting behind, you mentioned like basically your why. Like, yes, at the workshop, we're going to talk about things like hydration, nutrition, exercise. And I do even want to get into things like meditation and fun, because that's even part of it too, that whole, wellness and well-rounded health. But it's also comes back to like a why, like, because again, we know much of what we should be doing, which I don't like using the word should, but we're not. And so then it's like, well, why as well? So I think that's an important thing to highlight, like thinking about the future and where you want to be, because it is important to start now, even if that's looking at how much water you're drinking. Start with one small thing every day and working on that. And, those small, consistent habits, they truly add up. They really do. We don't think it, but over time, they really do.
And it's crazy what a difference water makes. Water. Yeah. But what will we cover in the workshop? We went through that, and you gave us some lists of like the hydration and the movement and all that. Like, so we have a whole day with you. Is there, what else are we covering that day? Like, how can you drop us in a little bit more detail?
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing I'd like to highlight is that it's going to be like a working workshop. I don't want anybody to think they're going to come and just sit here and listen to me talk about how this is how much water you should be drinking, and you should be exercising this much, and this is what, and you leave feeling like, oh my goodness, like I'm worse off than I thought. By no means. It's what I envision is really get into like kind of maybe even looking at what are you doing now, and where can we start making changes right away, and basically kind of like having a game plan, like I said, where these habits become automated. If that's like, what are you doing for your lunch right now? Are you even taking lunch? Because you really should be. Just even if it's getting back to the basics. And that's part of that is I plan to keep the group small so we can really kind of delve into not just discussing what's ideal with these topics, but also getting into a little bit deeper, like, well, what are your challenges in coming up with solutions for that as well?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it. And I want to throw this an invite out to everyone who's listening to just do some self-evaluation. Are you ready? Are you ready for some change? Do you feel like it's important? As we look around, when I was at the Verizon store with my tech challenge with my phone, no, it wasn't really a tech challenge. It was more of just like switching over to a new phone. But because it was during the day, and I'm in Phoenix, there were a lot of silver heads in that room. Everybody was silver headed, and kind of doing an evaluation of like how we grow as we get older, and like how some feel stronger than others. And I think about my own history of family members that we see, and like something I think about a lot is I want to be 90 and able to hike a mountain. I'd really like to be able to get up and get out. I might be slower than some of the others, but I'd really love to be able to still be mobile, and I'd love to still be as erect as I can be. And I think so I want to encourage our listeners to kind of do a self-check on where are you headed? Yeah. It's not even just right now, but where are you headed with your habits? And that's why I wanted really to take this time with you, Jan, is to bring to our community. I think it's such an important topic. to bring to our community of overachievers, right? People who are go, 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 go. And again, myself, I probably work so much that I could be carving some of that time out for some of these things you're going to talk to us about. So I just really hope that you, our listener, will give serious consideration to joining us. I don't know when the next workshop's going to be. So grab August 4th. Go to drjenmurphy.com under seminars, Exhausted to Energized. If they have questions, Jen, where should they reach out to you? How best to reach you?
Yes, absolutely. If we aren't friends on social, please feel free to find me there. Everybody knows that I like to spend some time there sharing information there. But Jen, Jen at drjenmurphy.com is the best email. So
fabulous. And thank you for mentioning you did the best lives on Facebook. I love your lives. And so do we follow, are those on Instagram and LinkedIn too, or is it, where do we go for that? Is it Facebook? Where's the best place to go watch?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for, pinpointing that. Yeah. Facebook is honestly where I'm most consistent at posting. So yes.
So,
Jennifer,
do you think you're Jen or Jennifer there? If we were to find you, would it be Jennifer Murphy?
Yes, Jennifer. Yes.
And so check out Jen on Facebook, and I think you're doing them at least once a week. Feels like I don't even know how frequent you are, but I'm like, I just love when I go to Facebook.
It depends. It depends. It's kind of on it. I'll be honest. Sometimes it's like when I get inspiration, out of my walks and runs. A lot of the time, for me, that's how it works. And then I feel inspired. Something that I'm thinking on or having a challenge with, sharing with others. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing what's coming through you, because when you feel inspired, I find that I get inspired by hearing you talk about it. So thank you. Seriously, I think they're really great. There's a lot of content out there, and we can't listen to all of it, and this is worth it. So I encourage you guys to take the time to listen to those short videos. So anything else we should talk about before we go, Jen? So we've got Exhausted to Energized, August 4th. I'll put a link in the comments, but is there anything we haven't talked about that would be important?
My only last thought about what we've talked about is that it's never too late. It's never too late to start implementing, good, healthy habits and turn the ship around, as they say. It's never too late. On the same token, it's never too soon either. So I hope everyone, will consider joining me. And if not, at least check out some information on social and, start to spend some time taking care of themselves. Because if you don't now, unfortunately, at some point, you'll probably be forced to. So, yeah.
That's a good reminder. And wish you had.
Yeah, I feel like that sounds a little bit harsh, but I'm starting to realize maybe we need to get some reality in here that, on these topics, that you don't want to wait till it's too late. Like I said, I know how I got to a point where I was at on the scale and how I felt and really unhappy and not being able to do all of the things that I really enjoy doing. And that's ultimately what it's about.
And I love that you shared with us recently in a group we were in that you're going to start training for your next marathon. So thank you for sharing that and inspiring me. I'm inspired by you. So thank you.
Well, thank you. Back at you.
All right, we'll call this love fest to an end. Exhausted to Energized. Feel free to shoot an email to Jen at drjenmurphy.com with any questions. I'll put the link below, but the website is drjenmurphy.com. Go to the seminars tab, Exhausted to Energized. I really hope that I see you guys there. I'm going to go learn a lot and continue. What I should say is that you're my health coach. So like Jen's been helping me prior to Evolution, her guidance with simple basic habits and those reminders and having accountability is big for me. I was able to drop 10 pounds. And so you and I need to go into a crash coaching arrangement now because I'd like to lose another 10 before dental festival. So I don't think I'm in trouble anyway.
All right.
All
Love
right.
it.
Until next time, everyone be well. Thank you for listening to the dental speaker. And thank you so much for being here, Jan. We really appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.